My name is Octavio Aragay. I'm from Campus Santa Catarina.
And my name is Ana Pau, and I am from Campus Cumbres.
Hello, my name is Camila, and I'm from Campus Cumbres.
Hello, my name is Patricio Gracia, and I'm from Campus Santa Catarina, and this is a Chernobyl Project. Chernobyl, there was a great devastation in 1986, which 31 persons died from radiation.
And the fourth nuclear reactor exploded, and that caused radiation. The Chernobyl accident was in April of 1986, and it was the result of inadequately trained personnel. This explosion released at least 5% of radioactive reactor core. In the night of the accident, 2 of the Chernobyl workers died. Weeks later, 28 persons died in result of the radiation. This happened because the megawatts dropped from 700 to 500 or lower, and the person in charge said to keep going no matter what, and the reactor was highly unstable when the megawatts were low. Radioactivity started to make an impact in Chernobyl when the fourth reactor was destroyed in the power plant. As a consequence, the near and far environment was contaminated very much. This accident was due to a lack of good personnel of the power plant. They didn't follow a set of rules and regulations.
The explosion in Chernobyl was really radioactive and had a height of 1.5 kilometers. This is because the elevation the Earth took sent radiation as far as Scandinavia. The cloud of radiation passed through Scandinavia and arrived to Ukraine, because during the explosion, the wind was going west. In the second explosion, it contaminated via Poland all the way to Czechoslovakia, affecting them and then later to Austria. After that, it returned to Poland. The radioactive cloud from Chernobyl caused damage and reached every place in the world.
Very affected up to a point they needed to evacuate the country permanently because of the damage the radiation made to the environment. There is radioactive pollution which may take up to 30 years of disintegration. Isotope of plutonium and americium will probably stay in those territories for many years. However, they have no effect of radiation in the human body.
Exponential functions. The original formula of exponential function is y equals 2 to the th power. It is basically true that y-intercept equals 1 and has an horizontal asymptote of th equals 0. That applies only for a basic formula, but it can change when the base and the exponent are different. Also, have a domain of negative infinite to infinite and a range of 0 to infinite.
Exponential growth is a growth whose rate becomes even more rapid in proportion to the growing total number or size. Its graph goes from left to right, and it is expressed as y equals a1 plus rx. A is the initial amount, r is a growth or decay, and x is the time intervals that are passed. Exponential decay. An exponential growth example could be the growth of a population, how people reproduce, how of having one child, that child can have 3 more, and those 3 can have 6, and continuously like that.
What distinguishes it from other functions is that the independent variable is in the exponent. At first, exponential growth does not increase much, but the rate of growth begins increasing more and more until the rate of increase becomes massive. It is a one-to-one function.
Decay is the process of reducing an amount by a consistent percentage rate over a period of time. It is expressed as y equals a1 minus rx. A is the initial amount, r is the growth or decay, and x time intervals that passed. An example of exponential decay is how your car's price decreases as the years go by.
What are the implications of using nuclear energy? It is dangerous because it can create a nuclear radiation accident. Radioactive waste is also dangerous because it can cause death in humans, animals, and living things. nuclear energy to be clean energy? Nuclear energy is clean energy because it does not need fossil fuels to function, neither emit contaminant gases into the atmosphere. But it can be dangerous if it is not being used in a correct way, because the waste is contaminant and cause several deaths.
Are you aware that there is a nuclear energy plant in Mexico? Where is it? Do you think it is safe? Do you agree with the fact that there is a nuclear energy plant in your country? Yes, the Laguna Verde nuclear power plant is located on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, in Alto Lucero, Veracruz, Mexico. I don't think it's safe because accidents can happen and it could result in high levels of radiation and affect the people living near the power plant.
Could the Chernobyl 1986 nuclear disaster have been prevented? Yes, this disaster could have been prevented. How? By changing how things were done in Chernobyl. Nuclear reactors have many safety systems and regulations you need to follow. There was poor personnel in the power plant and they didn't take the precautions needed to handle the plant. Every step and rule needs to be followed, otherwise accidents like this may happen.
Once the explosion happened, was there any way to stop the radiation spread and its pollution? After the explosion, rescuers and soldiers attempted to contain the radiation and failed, so there was no way to stop it. Do you think that the radioactive pollution generated by this disaster reached Mexico? This disaster caused radioactivity to reach the Gulf of Mexico, and it also released dangerous amounts of radioactive material into the Gulf.
What are for environmental consequences of Chernobyl 1986 disaster? Many animals died, soil was left infertile, radiation contaminated the atmosphere, and it also spread, which caused damage to other countries.
What are the environmental consequences of other nuclear disasters and use of nuclear weapons? Apart from the damage caused by fires and explosions, accidents also release radioactive materials which can cause radiation sickness. Radiation damages DNA, especially as it assembles in dividing cells. Nuclear weapons cause both immediate and long-term effects, like thermal radiation, and can cause significant destruction after a nuclear detonation and also cause radioactive fallout.
What do you think and feel about these consequences? I think these consequences made a big impact to the world. They killed many people, animals. They damaged a lot the atmosphere and many other things. And I think a solution for this is to always follow rules and procedures, even more on things that not only could harm us, but other people as well.
How did we feel working like this? We felt good, but like the first day we were working together, we were a little bit shy because we didn't know each other as much as we did after working and finishing the project. Question 2. Did we like it? We liked it because most of the project was just watching the videos of half an hour in YouTube, and from watching the videos you got most of the information you needed to finish the video and project. 3. Was it difficult? It was not difficult, just the only difficult part about the project was that we had to team up to record and stuff, and we had to change our schedules to make it work so we could team up in one house, and that was the only difficult part. What did I like most of working with my teammates in this form? I liked it because I got to work side by side with my new teammates, and they were actually remarkable, and also I developed new relationships with these people that I didn't know before, and we all enjoyed working together and helping each other to finish the project. Extra activity. Why hasn't it been possible to contain the nuclear energy and substances generated
by the nuclear reactor explosion in Chernobyl in 1986. The amount of radiation takes thousands of years to go away. Even though you can cover it up, some radiation will still escape and be there. What is that makes nuclear energy be so dangerous? The type of energy is both very expensive and can damage a lot of people, meaning that it's dangerous and the nuclear energy pollutes even though we cannot see it, and there is also the risk of a nuclear meltdown. Why is it said that nuclear reaction generates an exponential growth of atoms? Because when the atom splits, every atom that comes after that splits, so it's doubling in a tremendous rate. When will all the nuclear energy and substances released by the explosion be dissolved? Can they be cleaned out completely? Well, they can be cleaned out, but there will be a lot of radiation left, and for at least a few thousand years, it will be covered in radiation. So after like 20,000 years, it will be free of radiation, and that will not happen in our lifetime. Thank you for your attention.